You are listening to the Sherlock Files, where the shadows of London conceal secrets only Sherlock Holmes can uncover. These tales, drawn from my own journals, offer first-hand accounts of the strange and the sinister, cases where logic clashed with terror, and deduction danced with danger. I am Dr. John H. Watson, loyal friend and chronicler to Mr. Holmes. And this is one of those cases. In the pages that follow, you will not only hear of Holmes's brilliance, but of the confounding moments when I, like you, stood baffled by the veil of mystery. Until Holmes cast his light upon the darkness. Tonight's account is unlike any other, an enigma buried in time and soil, aboard a moving train, tangled in deception and death. I call it The Garden of Dead Clues. Chapter 1, The Man with Moss on His Boots. It was in the early spring of 1893, a grey and wind-bitten season, when the final frost had not yet relinquished its grip upon the city and the Thames rolled sluggish and sullen under a shroud of mist. I remember the date precisely, for it was the morning after my return from a brief stay in Bath, where the mineral waters had been prescribed for a persistent stiffness in my shoulder, a lasting souvenir from the Afghan campaign. I had scarcely stepped through the familiar door of our Baker Street lodgings when I was greeted by the unmistakable odor of shag tobacco and the sight of Sherlock Holmes stretched languidly upon the divan. Fingers steepled, eyes half-lidded, the very picture of dormant energy. "Ah, Watson," he said without turning his head. "You have been back in London precisely 47 minutes. Took the four-penny cab from Paddington, and are carrying with you a copy of the Times, an umbrella you did not require, and a minor gift for your landlady in your left coat pocket." Our morning tea had scarcely cooled when Mrs. Hudson appeared at the door, her brow knit with the peculiar expression I had come to associate with what she termed a queer sort of visitor. "He's not right, sir," she whispered to me while Holmes poured another cup. "He walked in muttering to himself, sir, looking behind at every step like he were followed. His boots, oh! I never did see such a thing. Moss, sir, green moss, clinging to them like he'd trudged through a forest floor." "Moss?" Holmes sat up with sudden interest. "Show him in at once, Mrs. Hudson." What entered was a man perhaps in his late 30s, though he looked older from the wear about his eyes and the colourless pallor of his cheeks. He wore a serviceable suit, cut a few seasons out of date, and his coat still bore damp streaks from the morning drizzle. As Mrs. Hudson had said, his boots were indeed peculiar, thick with a strange greenish residue. But I feel it in my bones. Holmes regarded him with narrowed eyes, the violin bow in his hand now forgotten entirely. "Do sit down, Mr. Greaves, and begin at the beginning. What is it that has alarmed you?" Greaves settled into the chair opposite Holmes and began to speak in a halting, nervous cadence. He was a landscape architect by trade, he explained, employed by a wealthy patron in Sussex to oversee the redesign of an old botanical estate, an overgrown property known as Windermere Hollow. Its gardens, once elaborate and grand, had long since succumbed to